and welcome back. My name is Trisha Jaktiani, and in this tutorial, I will introduce you to the match function, and we will see how it can be used with the VLOOKUP function to make your VLOOKUP dynamic. Match function is used to return the position of the text or the value from a given range. For example, in my sheet here, I have two tables given on the right where you can see some value given in the table, and I have to identify the column number or the row number in this table. In order to do that, I will use the match function because match function can easily identify the position of the particular value in the given range. So the first argument in the match function is the lookup value. Unlike VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP functions, lookup value in the match function is the value or the text that I'm looking for. So in my case, I'm going to pick up the sales because I'm looking for sales in the given range. Now, where will I look for the sales is the question. Sales is mentioned in the headers, which is in the first row in the table on the left. So then my lookup value is the sales, which is sitting in the H4 cell, and hence I picked up that cell reference. After the comma, I'm going to give the lookup array. The lookup array is the range from which I need to identify the value. So in our case, the lookup array is going to be the first row from where I need to pick up the position of the word sales. Once I have picked up the first row, the next one I have to give is the match type. Because I am looking for the exact match of the lookup value, I'm going to pick up exact match as 0 and close the bracket. Also notice that the second argument in the match function, which is the lookup array, will only be one row or the one column. It cannot pick multiple columns or multiple rows. It can only be a single column or a single row. So this is a rule. After doing this, I will press enter. Excel will give you the position of the sales in that particular row. So when I say position, it is going to check in this whole range which position is the sales sitting. First position is customer, second is region, third is order date, and sales is in the fourth position. So can I say easily that sales is sitting in the fourth column? The first column is customer, second is B, region, third is order date, and the fourth is the sales column. And that's the reason it is saying the fourth column from the table. Next one I need to identify is the row number for which Smith and Company is sitting. Smith and Company is the name of the customer, and the customer name is sitting in the first column. So then my array or the lookup array in the match function is going to be the column. So my lookup value here is again Smith and Company, comma, my lookup array, like I mentioned, is going to be the first row, comma, and then my exact match, so 0. I press enter, I can see that it is giving me the result as 6. Again, I can say that Smith and Company is sitting in the 6th row. Why? Because the first row is the header customer, second row contains the details for Acme customer, then the widget, then the fourth one is 1 to 3 warehousing, fifth one is demo company, and the 6th row contains Smith and Company's details. So Smith and Company is sitting in the 6th row if I'm selecting the range from the header till the end. So this is how your match function works to identify the position in the given range. You would have also noticed that when I wanted to identify the column number, I had picked up the row in the lookup array, but when I wanted to identify the row number, I had picked up the column number or the column as my range in the lookup array. Now moving on to see how we can add match with the VLOOKUP function to make your VLOOKUP dynamic. In order to do that, I will first start with the simple VLOOKUP function which we have already learned in the VLOOKUP video. We will first see how the VLOOKUP function works here. So the lookup value here, because I'm going to identify tentative date of joining from the base data, I will have to use the lookup value as my name, which is the first name, and then table array is going to be from the base data. I pick up the full base data. From the base data, I will have to check my column index number. The column index number will be the column where tentative date of joining is sitting. So starting with the name, I'm going to take the first column index number as name, second column index number is gender, third is stream, fourth is exam start date, fifth is exam end date, sixth is JCF date, and the seventh one is my tentative date of joining, and hence my column index number is going to be 7, comma. My last thing that I have to give is the range lookup, which is going to be the exact match. So I can either enter false or I can enter 0 as my exact match or the range lookup. Press enter and here you get the result for the tentative date of joining for the first student name that is mentioned here. If I drag it down, of course, it will give me the result for the rest of them.
Congratulations on completing the business dashboard using Excel course. Ready to elevate your career? Join our postgraduate certificate in data science and AI and gain exclusive benefits like a complimentary Python programming bootcamp, 7+ case studies, dedicated student support, and access to our job opportunities portal. Don't miss out on this chance to transform your career. Invest in yourself today and join our program. Click on the link in the description to enroll now and take the next step in your career journey.
Now, let's move on and see where I can add the match function. In the VLOOKUP function, your column index number is entered manually, which is number 7, and is a static number. So it will not change even if I make any changes to the base data. However, you can also create a dynamic column index number by using a match function, and you can easily now understand how you can do that by looking for tentative date of joining in the base data in the first row, because that is where I need to identify which column is the tentative date of joining sitting. So first I will only do the match function here. So why we will do the match function, that also we will see. Let's say I delete any data from the base database and I delete from here. Ideally, your tentative date of joining now is in the sixth column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But when I go on to the VLOOKUP, you will see that it is still picking up 7. That means it is giving me the answer from the next column, which is the commission received. And so it is incorrect. Now you might ask me that it is still giving me a date. How is it picking a date when the commission received is actually a number? Because it is still having the format as the date. So if I want to change it and see, I can always change it into a number by clicking on this number format and it will give me the number. I'm keeping the format as it is, and this time I will try to delete one more and see what happens. Here again you will see that it is giving me a reference error because it cannot find the 7th column in the list and it is empty, and hence it is giving me an error. Going back, if I have to make sure that Excel automatically identifies the column index number, I will have to use the match function to replace the static number as my column index number. So first I will do the match function in a different column to identify my column index number. Now in this case, my lookup value is going to be the text or the value that I'm looking for in the base data. Now I am looking for the tentative date of joining because I'm trying to identify the column number where the tentative date of joining is available in the base data. So what I do is I will select the lookup value as my tentative date of joining from this list, and then after the comma, the lookup array is going to be in the base data, because from the base data I need to identify which column is the tentative date of joining sitting. Like I mentioned earlier, to identify the column number, I am going to select the row. So my row is going to be the place or the row where my headings are. Once I select the row, after that I will have to give the exact match. So I'll enter 0 and press enter the close bracket and press enter. Here you can see the 7, which is my column index number. So now can I replace this column index number, which is a static number, with the match function? Before that, let's see if I delete anything, does that match function automatically identify it? So I'm going to delete one column from this. It automatically identifies and say the 6 as my column index number. If I add anything, is it going to change? I'm going to first get that back and now add one more column. So let's see. Yes, it is giving me the 8th as my column index number. So now you will see that it has changed here because I had taken, in this case, it is still showing me 7. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to change or replace the column index number, which is a static number, to the match function. I'll remove the 7 and enter match there. The lookup value, like we had done earlier, is going to be the tentative date of joining, comma, I'll look in the base data, my row from which I want to identify the column number, comma, 0 as my match type, close the bracket and press enter. Here you will see that it has automatically identified the first cell which contains the exact date. Now what has happened is I have picked up the tentative date of joining as my cell reference. So when I try to drag it down, my G1, which has the tentative date of joining, if I drag it down due to relative referencing, the G1 will become G2 and G2 will become G3. So instead of looking for tentative rate of joining, it will start looking for the next value, which is the date. In order to avoid that, one thing I can do is I can type the exact word as tentative DOJ, which is the exact word that I'm looking for in the inverted commas. Now, if I drag it down, of course, it is going to keep the same and give you the result. Or what I can do is I can freeze the row number by putting a dollar sign in front of the row number only. We have already seen the relative and the absolute and the mixed reference in the other video. So please refer to the referencing video to understand the relative and the mixed reference. So this is called as a mixed reference where I'm only entering the dollar sign to freeze the row number. Now if I drag it down, of course, it will only look for the same row. You will see that even if I go down, G1 remains the same and it doesn't change. So now if I delete any data from the base data, it will still look for the correct information and it will give me the result as the tentative date of joining which we are looking for. Now, another use of using the match function is that if I want to drag and get the result for the adjacent cell also, for example, here the tentative date of joining, it has been identified by using the VLOOKUP function. If I also want to identify the commission received in a VLOOKUP function, I'll have to do the VLOOKUP again and enter my commission received column number as my column index number. However, if I have entered match will automatically look for the commission received and give me the result for the next function. However, there is one more thing that I'll have to freeze. Let's see if I drag it right, what happens. If I drag it right, your A2, which is your name in the VLOOKUP function, changes to B2 and it will start looking for gender, which is incorrect. So then I have to also freeze A in my lookup value for VLOOKUP function. So I'll freeze A, press enter. Now if I drag it to the right, it is going to check for the same one, which is your A2 from the list, because now your A is not changing even if I drag it to the right. Your table is going to remain the same. In the match, because earlier it was looking for G1, you will see that in the match, now it is looking for H1, which is your commission received, and everything else remains the same. However, again, like I mentioned earlier, your commission received is showing in the date because that is how it has been formatted. So I'll change it into the format by clicking on this comma sign, which is changing it into a number. I remove the decimal places and drag the result down, and here you get the commission received result also. So there are two uses of using the VLOOKUP function with the match. One is that it becomes dynamic by even if I delete or add any information here, it will still give me the correct result because now there is no static number, but it is using the match function. We are asking the match function to look for the column index number and we are not entering it manually, and hence it is still giving me the correct answer even by making any changes into the base data. The second use of using the match function in the VLOOKUP is that I can drag it to the right as many columns I want to identify. So hope you found this video useful because it is giving you so many information and making your life so simpler by using the VLOOKUP function to get result for the multiple columns. Thank you for watching this and keep watching for more videos to understand the advanced Excel functions.